everyone. How you doing? Can you guys hear us? Hear me okay? Everyone, sorry, could you hear this okay? Okay, seeing lots of nods, thumbs up, cool.
Hi.
All right, well, welcome everyone to the Toontown Q&A panel. We are so excited that you're here on this first day of ToonFest Columbus. Did everyone get a chance to check out the booth yet? Yeah? Well, what about that Holly Days card? Did you like that? Awesome. Well, we are here to answer any and all questions that you have about Toontown Rewritten. Before we officially get started, we're each just going to introduce ourselves. But while we do that, if you do have a question, very carefully, don't scramble. We're going to get through as many as we can, but feel free to start lining up over by Danny up here, single file in the center line. And we'll get through as many as we can throughout this panel. With that being said, hi everyone. My name is Joey. I'm the creative director of Toontown Rewritten. And fun fact, let's see. I didn't think we had time. I'm going to come back to it. But I'm just going to pass it to you.
I wasn't prepared for that part. Oh, wait. Can you hear me too? OK, cool. I cannot tell from here. So my name is June. I am the creative media lead. And I am also the ToonFest project director. A fun fact.
Sorry, we didn't talk about this.
No,
I just
no
threw
one
it
told
out
me.
there. We're not going to do fun facts. We'll just
OK, no
introduce
fun
ourselves.
facts. You'll find fun facts about me later this weekend.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is John C. I am a game programmer here at Toontown Rewritten.
Hi, all. My name's Susie, and I'm one of our Discord moderators, and I'm also one of our partners for some of our partnered servers.
Hi, my name's Tony, also known as Ro. I'm the lead producer of Toontown Rewritten and one of the ToonFest project producers. I guess one fun fact is that we have no fun facts.
Yeah. Yeah, we have lots of fun facts to answer for your questions. So I think we can just jump right into it. We just asked to do one question per person. If you have another question, you can sort of circle back around to the end of the line. And as you come up, we'd love to hear your name or toon name and what you want to know about Toontown. Go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Jake Cheesy Marvel. I'm not really sure if you'll be able to answer this question, but in the early beta days of Rewritten, there were these, I can't remember what they were called, but like these Easter eggs where if you say a speed chat phrase in a certain area, you would get teleported somewhere. I believe the last time these were shown was when Boss by Headquarters first came out, and you used the resistance salute in the minigame in the mini golf area, and it would take you to Boss by Headquarters. I was wondering if you ever thought about bringing those back for something like maybe Clear Coasts.
Yeah, so what you're talking about, I believe, and actually I had totally forgotten about this, so I love this reminder. This was one of our ARGs that we did back in the day where, and that's an alternate reality game. That's like where we have a puzzle about like the Toontown story that you're trying to solve using stuff from outside the game and stuff from inside the game. And I can't recall who was the main person behind that design, but I know that it was very heavily based off of the Meet Here bots from Toontown Online. If anyone's familiar with that deep cut, there were these bots that someone set up on Toontown Online where like you would go to a specific playground and say, meet here, and this toon would pop up out of nowhere and ask where you want to go. You'd say where you want to go, and they'd take you there, regardless if you had teleport access. And so when, that was like someone who had just made like a modification to the original game, but we wanted to gamify it. And we haven't really talked about bringing that back in any ways, but I always loved that design, so I think it'd be super fun to see at some point in the future. Thanks for reminding me, because maybe we'll know now.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ryan. My toon's name is Colonel Lucky, and my question's a lot simpler than the guy before me. So,
that's all right.
Just like there are V2.0 cogs that we might fight in bosses, HQs, and special events, have you ever thought about implementing V2.0 boss cogs themselves for toons who might want a harder challenge?
That's a great question.
Sort of like overclocked in Corporate Clash.
Yeah. I'm going to toss this, I don't know, to maybe John or Tony, because I know Tony was heavily involved in Under New Management and sort of the new designs for Cogs and that. I don't know. Did either of you have thoughts on that idea?
Yeah, I can say for sure we experimented with the idea of more difficult bosses. There's even one point where we considered the Cog disguise upgrades to unlock harder bosses. But we really wanted to make sure if we were to do something like this, we do it right to make it really fun, but also not exclusive to people who, for example, unlocked their suits and progressed all the way to 2.0. So I would really love to see that one day, since it has been on our agenda before. So yeah, maybe one day in the future.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dan. I also go by Blue Hem Cosplay. You may remember me as the Spin Doctor, but I will not harp on that. Thank you for the laugh. My question, can I raise this up a little bit?
We can hear you all right.
Oh, thank you. Can I hold it?
You can just leave it there.
So my question is, I forgot it. Can I, crap. Is there,
No worries. We threw you off your train of thought.
thank you, I'm so sorry.
No problem at all. If you want to take a second, we can go to the next question.
go
You
to
can
the
just-
next person.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll come back.
No problem. Think about it.
Okay.
All right. Hi, my name is Paul. My Toon's name is Captain Buster. This is my third time attending ToonFest. My question to you guys was, as far as the new playground goes with Clear Coasts, are the Toon tasks gonna be related to, are they gonna like increase our laugh? Are they gonna be able to have us carry more gags, or is that classified right now?
It's a really great question. I think we can talk a bit about that. So I will say all of it is still very much under development and things can change, but we do know for a fact that Clear Coast will increase the maximum laugh point value beyond 140, so look forward to that. And one of the things that we've been very excited about with the task design is like the nostalgic feel of playground Toon tasks, because we've added lots of new Toon tasks to Toontown Rewritten, but we haven't had anything that's quite scratched the itch of, like teleport access to a place, or the feeling of like increasing your gag training and whatnot. And so we're trying to, as we design the new quests for it, tap into like what are the feelings of exploring a new area for the first time and being a kid, and like your first time going to Daisy Gardens and getting the key task where you have to recover that key and whatnot. Like those staples we look at and try to think, what are the tasks that we can create for Clear Coast that will make people feel nostalgic for them one day, and make people just feel a lot of joy when they play them. So definitely laugh points, definitely teleport access. We're thinking about gag capacity increase. I wouldn't say that we're 100% on that yet. And we're thinking about other ways of progression, beyond whether it is training for a new gag track or whether it is something else entirely. We're thinking about all sorts of ways to really make it feel like a classic Toontown playground.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Dan. I go by Blue Hem Cosplay, and my fun fact is that I apologize for that. My question is actually more of a pitch. Is that allowed?
Sure.
Okay, so this is something I wanted to ask you. I might have asked you a previous year, Joey, but could we at some point implement maybe a home aquarium?
Oh, yeah.
To have a bit more use for the fish. I was always sad that I would just pick them up and then never see them again. Because I really think there's so much opportunities with all the designs. I would love to see more use for the fish.
I would love that too. And so I'm going to have you guys fact check me for a second here, because there is something that I've had in my brain forever that I have a vivid memory of seeing on the Toontown Line website in like a backstage post. And I've never been able to actually dig it up to prove that it exists, so maybe I just streamed it. But I remember a backstage post on the Toontown Line site that talked about them adding fish to the game. And I swear it mentioned that they wanted to have like fish bowls so that you could catch like, a clownfish and then bring it to your Tuna State.
Best fish.
Yeah. But I have never been able to prove that actually existed, which means it probably didn't, and I just hallucinated it. But I've always thought that was a really cool idea. I'll pass it to John maybe to talk about like, I don't know, what would that even take? And do you feel like that's something that we would want to explore for Toontown?
Yeah, I certainly think that it's a very realistic feature to be added. I also think that there's a lot of fun that you can gain out of that because it's a simple feature in theory, and I think that it would very much also sort of improve the atmosphere of estates, and that's something that I've thought about in the past. Is like, how can we, further improve estates? And TTR has already made great strides to improve the experience of estates, and I think that that would definitely elevate it. I am very much, I love your idea because I also very much love aquariums. I mean, one of my personal hobbies is aquariums. Back at home, I love, fish keeping, so it's a fun thing.
I like collecting.
And on a technical level, it's not very complicated because even the pet shops themselves sort of have like a primitive sort of idea of that, where if you look in the background of the pet shop and you see the fish swimming around. And so it's not even really anything that's like groundbreaking because Toontown Online already did it themselves. Just in the pet shop itself. And so in theory, it's very simple, and we can sort of tap into the fish that you've caught and base it off of that. So like if you're like maybe you might be a brand new toon and you haven't yet quite fished yet, and so I'm not sure how we would sort of approach that. But if you are, a seasoned player and you've caught like every fish species, and then you can sort of use that to your advantage. Like, do you want to have like a holy mackerel in your estate? If you've caught it, sure.
Would it? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
A separate question. I guess this is just an add-on. But I mean, maybe this is just maybe they could like also help in battle. Maybe they could give you like stat boosts or something.
That's a more interesting thing. That's really
that would be the complicated bit.
That's definitely a more that's definitely a more involved discussion versus the
later,
typical having them in their states. But I do think that that is a wonderful idea, and I've never heard that suggested before. Maybe it has been, but I do very much like that suggestion because it sort of resonates with me on a personal level, which is I love those suggestions. So this is definitely not something that I will forget about. I will definitely remember this suggestion. This one, I think that there's a lot of potential for that. Having aquariums and estates. Yeah. I very much like the idea.
Seeing it in your head right now.
Imagine calling your pet clownfish into battle and telling it to roll over.
Yes, I love that. Oh my gosh.
But nonetheless, great ideas. We will certainly keep thinking about it.
This will definitely be on my mind moving forward. Thank you.
I'm going to name my peanut butter and jellyfish Goldie. Thank you, guys.
Hello, my name is Liam. My toon is Zealous. My question is, what has been your all-time favorite ToonFest memory?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I'm one.
You should start.
I have one so immediate. So this was 2018, and I know we probably jumped the gun a little bit, but we also were really excited about this. But one of my absolute favorite memories was the reaction to field offices getting announced. I was sitting in the audience, and I remember the entire audience was rumbling and screaming. It was so exciting. I know that when we announced it, we were like thinking it was going to be 2019, but we just kept increasing scope from that. But that's just one of my favorite memories. But also in general, I love seeing people get excited about new things that come out. My favorite joy is bringing joy to other people. So.
Yeah, I want to direct this to Susie too, because Susie started as a fan, much like you guys, attending ToonFest. I think 2016 was the first time?
I was actually at the 2015 one.
2015, so...
And I was going to mention, so in 2015 and 2016, if anybody else was there, it was a table, like on the side of a hallway. And then between 2016 and 2023, I couldn't go. So when I went in 2023, I was thinking maybe there was going to be a couple of tables like lined up, like maybe we'd have 3. And I got there as a player in 2023, and it just blew my mind how much stuff there was, how many cool things there were. And then obviously I got to see a lot of my friends, a lot of folks on the team that I knew. So 2023 is definitely my favorite memory.
Yeah, to bring up 2023, I mean, my favorite moment was just unveiling our under new management reveal trailer. Just the crowd roared during that moment when the spotlight hit on them, and it was just like I almost wanted to cry. It was like so amazing, like seeing how happy you guys were. I was personally really scared, oh, they might not like new Cogs and Toontown Rewritten, and so just seeing that was like really validating for months and maybe even years worth of work for so many people on the team. So that was definitely my favorite moment.
John, do you have a favorite moment?
Piggybacking off of June, since I was a guest at ToonFest in 2018, and I absolutely remember that that was probably one of the biggest highlights of TTR for me in general up to that point. It was such a huge experience to sort of be there as a feature of that magnitude was being announced. And that was absolutely the highlight of ToonFest for me for a while. I attended 2017, 18, and 19 as a guest, and 2018 was the ToonFest for me that sort of defined, my experience with ToonFest and, had me coming back, and I have never missed a ToonFest since because of that moment that I remember and how impactful it was to me. And it also led to me really wanting to sort of be a part of that because I realized the impact that had on me and understood that there has to be other people like that as well, which led to me wanting to be a part of the team and also be a part of ToonFest directly. And I actually became tech director for ToonFest this year for starting with Oklahoma City, and I still am. And it's all really based off of that sort of started, planted the seed in my mind. It was a really big thing, especially as a player. It was huge, and it's something that I still think about to this day.
My favorite memory, just generally, is like getting to see all of you all with your families here at ToonFest. Like, it's especially like when you see like much younger generations coming with their parents or even grandparents, and it's like I don't think we fully even cherish how rare that is for a game to bring people together from all ages and to just it's such a sense of community here. And yeah.
It's interesting that because June and I were actually talking about this on the car ride down. We were talking about how because we've gone to so many ToonFests, we've seen so many people like come repeat like year after year. We've seen some folks grow up with ToonFest, and we've seen folks grow,
absolutely.
and it's a wonderful experience just watching folks that repeat attenders of ToonFest and seeing them grow over the years, and sort of being a part of their journey along the way, and that's a very sort of fulfilling thing because it speaks volumes about Toontown Rewritten and ToonFest. The fact that we've had such an impact on folks that we sort of can be a part of their life story. I mean, there's not so many things in life that can be as fulfilling as that, I feel, and that's definitely one of the major examples.
Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Buck. I go by King Pants or Dr. Wings, and this question is mostly for the game design team. As somebody who is a big fan of the battle system in Toontown, Toontown Online, Toontown Rewritten, I was wondering what the team's vision is on potentially expanding tutorialization for the battle system and other complicated parts of Toontown in the future. Yeah, all the tuning tacticians really know what they're doing out there, but stuff like combo damage multipliers, lore damage multipliers, now status effects are in the mix. I feel like a lot of the knowledge that spreads around for people trying to get through mid-level and high-level content are mainly kind of just coming from official sources, kind of like learning everything by ear and then by heart. I was wondering if there would be more going into this like officially in the game, or if it's just kind of a social aspect that we've come to accept for people teaching each other how to play.
So yeah, really excellent question. And honestly, I think you've boiled it down very well there because certainly we do want to improve the tutorialization of Toontown and very soon. Like we've talked about some roadmaps of wanting to do an update like that within the next year or two. And we really, like you said, think a lot about not just teaching people how to play the game themselves, but like, we want people to socialize. Like socializing and making friends is a part of the game, and that kind of shared knowledge of like, not fully knowing, the secrets that your friends can share with you. We don't want to take all of that away, but we do want to make it easier for people to access, especially because back when Toontown Online was created and their tutorial was created, it was much more commonplace for games to come with like manuals. And so you might remember that like Toontown Online had a player's guide on their website, which was just a manual of how to play the game. But nowadays, games are much more interactive, and those manuals are kind of built into the gameplay experience. And so we certainly want to visit Tutorial Tom and have some discussions about how we could improve things and kind of generate the overall knowledge of how battles in Toontown work. And yeah, I think it's something to keep an eye out for very soon.
Ooh.
Thanks.
Thank you. Tell Tutorial Tom I said hi.
Hi, my name is Ghost Heart. My toon name's Love a Lot, and I'm dressed up as Buck Ruffler, the Duck Shuffler. Anyways, I have a deep lore question.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Back then, we got a prophecy from the Fizzentons about the berg possibly melting. Is that going to be fulfilled at some point, or were the Fizzentons just making an educated guess?
Oh, so I would even have to go back and see where that came from. That's a very deep cut. I will say, kind of redirecting it slightly, we had a presentation recently that I had given to the team because we had a lot of team members asking lore questions like this. Newer folks who were like, what is up with the Fizzentons anyway, and Dr. Surly and time travel, and we have 10 years of history now with Toontown Rewritten, 11 years actually. How does the story all connect? And so I put together a presentation for our team called 100 Years of Toontown Lore. And it starts at the founding of Toontown in 1928, all the way to the future of Toontown in 2028. And I sort of did this deep dive of here's how it all connects, here's how it goes from Who Framed Roger Rabbit to Mickey's Toontown in Disneyland to Toontown Online to Toontown Rewritten, and how they're all the same connected place, and we're seeing different parts of it. And the Fizzentons, while they do have a big feature in that, their prophecy about the berg was not something I came across in my research when putting that presentation together. So I am going to look that up. I will say there's no current plans to melt the berg or anything, but we'll dive deep into that and see what sort of stories we can come up with.
Well, thank you.
All right. Hello. I go by Captain Tom, okay. So I'm not really sure if you're able to answer this question, but I figured I'd ask. So, 10 years ago, the Flippy and Slappy election happened. So I do remember you were literally able to actually vote. So I was wondering, in an alternate universe where Flippy got more votes, I'm wondering, in an alternate universe, would the roles be reversed and Slappy would be the one actually in office or in Toon HQ or whatever it is, and Flippy was the one to get go sad from that yes man?
That's a really great question. I do feel like, and this is almost just sort of my own fan fiction here, but I think that things might have always ended up the same, even if the votes were flipped, because it was less about who won and who lost, and more about who Flippy and Slappy are as characters and as tunes. And Slappy was always very, slap happy, and very much the kind of person who, if he sees a big, intimidating guy in a suit coming up, he's going to walk up and shake his hand and give him a big smile and whatnot. Whereas Flippy is sort of more of the protector. He's a very sort of heroic tune and someone who cares a lot about his friends. And so even if those roles were reversed, I can easily see Slappy sort of jumping down there and being like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Have you met my friend Flippy who won just now? And then the same thing sort of happening. Okay. That's my headcanon of what would have happened in an alternate universe.
I was also just more wondering, was there different animations that would have played during that event, that were actually made if Flippy actually won?
Yeah, so we did a lot of work to make Slappy a candidate who would win. We wanted Slappy to win, and we knew that was really difficult because everyone loves Flippy, and Flippy's been the mascot of Toontown for 20 years, and at that time 10 years. But we intentionally made Slappy feel more likable in blog posts. He had the more fun events compared to Flippy during the election phase. And we really tried our best to prop Slappy up as a candidate that people wanted to vote for. Right. So it was always sort of the plan that he was going to win the election and Flippy would lose.
All right, that's all. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I go by Mr. Gums. I'm just so I know you've recently in August said you were about the Toontown Remastered project and how upcoming is going to be a remaster of Donald's Dreamland. Is there any kind of hint on what the next area is going to be touched?
Oh, great question. Anyone on stage want to take this one? Maybe Tony, Mr. Production Lead over here.
You're asking what's the next playground that would be worked on?
in general think that's going to be touched by the remastered project? That gets,
Oh,
like, the new
yeah.
graphics and everything?
I know there's been a lot of, sorry, remastered team if I'm misspeaking, but I know there's been a lot of interest for sure in the, like, finalizing the HQs, as well as, yeah, I would say one of the COG HQs, but I cannot promise anything.
Yeah, there's active work happening right now for a different playground for Remastered, and I think all of us on stage are kind of biting our tongue of like, did we include that in a blog post? I don't think we did. So I would say keep an eye out. It'll be announced in the near future, but yeah, we are definitely working on COG HQs, and we're working on another playground for Remastered as well.
Hello, my toon name is Yadagarasu, and I was wondering if you had plans to implement content that is accessible to Ubers, and if not, would there be an option for Ubers to disable overheal?
Oh, great question. I don't know, maybe anyone on this side of the table want to take that question? I know there was some thoughts about that with the under new management design.
Yeah, I'm trying to really think here. I remember that being discussed, and I remember a lot of our like design plans with the battles was trying to see like, oh, would this be possible with Ubers? I'm not sure. I think we'd like to believe that one day we could like do stuff more with Ubers, but I don't personally can't recall anything currently that we've been like really experimenting with regarding that.
Yeah, in general, like our game design philosophy is, you know, we design content for sort of like the default way to play Toontown, like the recommended way, so to speak, that the tasks take you through. But we never want to design content that takes away a play style from someone else, because one of the great things about Toon is there's all sorts of ways to play it, even for the tunes that are just getting like one gag, for the lowest level gag they can get from each track and whatnot. So we definitely always have discussions about that when we're adding new content, and we sort of have to weigh what we feel like is best for the game in the long term and what will open up future playstyle possibilities. So whenever we do have to make a decision that we feel like might take away a potential playstyle opportunity, we always want to sort of introduce a new, more interesting thing that would replace it. So it's all to say, while we don't have any specific plans at the moment for the idea that you suggested, Ubers are always on our mind and a very beloved part of the game.
That's good to know, thank you.
Hi, my name's Alyssa. My toon name is Senpai. I kind of want to piggyback off of someone's early question where they were talking about Laugh being implemented into the new Clear Coast. Would they also re-implement Max Tuneup Unite, possibly, since 80 is only about half of 150 if they only added the minimum Laugh boost?
Yeah, so Max Tuneup Unites aren't something we've talked about bringing back, but I would say Unites in general are something that we keep looking at as like, this needs a new balance pass, because you know we're continuing to increase the maximum laugh, and it's also you know, the jelly bean economy is in shambles, and you know we're looking at ways to make sure that the content remains fun. Like, we never want something like Unites to feel outdated for new content or vice versa. So yeah, no specific plans at the moment, but I think it's something definitely that we'll consider.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is Zach, also known as Proof Cuckoo Banana Gloop. I do have a question about one of the side activities, and it's everybody's favorite activity, gardening.
Of course.
Everyone love it? No? So we've seen different activities get buffed and nerfed, like for example, the trophy nerfs between golf and racing. You also have a couple changes to fishing, but gardening wasn't really touched that much. Do you think there's going to be any plans for like updating gardening to make it a little bit more interesting? Like for example, like maybe have like one of the statues spit out water to make sure that the trees do not wilt within like the next week.
I like that idea. I've heard of like the sprinkler idea before. I haven't heard of the statue actually being the sprinkler. But yes, so like gardening is a feature of the game that we don't love in its current form. And like everything, it always comes down to the question of what do we feel like is sort of the biggest impact on Toontown players that we can do? You know, we sort of have like at all times a short-term, a medium-term, and a long-term project going on. And so, of course, right now you all know that sort of our long-term and medium-term projects are Clear Coasts and Toontown Remastered. And then the short-term project is one that like we're kind of looking at our schedule for this next year to plan out what are some things that we think really need a tune-up around Toontown, and gardening is one of those things. Similarly, like doodle training is one of those things, and racing is one of those things, and like, you know, all those different side activities, we think there's lots of possibilities to improve it, and gardening is probably the one that needs it most in terms of how monotonous it is, next to doodle training, I guess.
I,
So-
for one, must say I love
Yeah.
gardening. I don't want to hear the hate for gardening.
So if it doesn't happen, you know it's Tony's fault.
You can start blaming him right now. So direct all your anger.
Yeah, it's the best 5 minutes you will ever get out of gardening.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
Absolutely.
question, bud. Thanks for the answering, by the way.
Yeah, of course, thank you. And I know, like, as we're talking about this, although we're saying a lot of like, oh, you know, we don't have current plans for it. I know it sounds kind of repetitive over time, but truly, like, we are always in discussion about all of these things and always kind of working on all these things. We've had all sorts of prototypes of ways that we could improve gardening, and we want to bring them to you as soon as possible.
I actually have one more thing to add to that. So on the Toontown Hub, we have seen a lot of the suggestions, and I can't say which ones we've nabbed, but there are some suggestions that we have been like, that's actually a really good idea. So you guys, like, when you send your feedback, I know we don't always respond, but we actually log all of these somewhere, and then we go back and we're like, we're going to take this idea. So one of the ideas that you guys said, I won't say what, but we are very interested in.
Thank you.
Hi, Colonel Lucky. I'm back again.
Welcome back.
This is probably more for the game design team. So we've got things in the catalog. You can change your color, change your name. The final task in the Toon HQ, you can carry a final level 7 gag. Is there any plans in the future where maybe we could change a gag track we regretted getting way back when? Maybe you change it and you have to start from the beginning again, and you have to go through some arduous process, much like for changing your second level 7 gag.
Yeah, like a gag track rewrite, so to speak. Yeah, so that is certainly ideas that we've talked about, and we have this balance when it comes to rewrites in general. You know, gags, tune, species, everything, where like to us, like and like sort of analyzing the design of Toontown Online, we feel that the replay value of Toontown is like part of the game, like creating multiple tunes and having multiple different types of tunes, like different species, different gag track combinations, that kind of stuff, is all a part of it to us. But at the same time, we know that like because Toontown's been around so long now, there's people who have tunes they created 10 years ago that are like, you know, I just don't enjoy playing on this tune anymore because I would have chosen something differently. So we are very open to it, and it's something that especially as we take a look at the progression for Clear Coasts and like how we, like what type of battle enhancements we want to introduce to that, we're thinking a lot about the idea of changing previous choices that you've made throughout the playgrounds.
I say that because in many times, especially in the higher level field offices where it's a real trial by fire, my tune is Tuneupless, and there's many times I wish I had it to help the other tunes out. You can make up for that with Unites, with Doodles, but it's like, oh, what did I choose this? It's not going to help here.
Yeah, and it's a great point too, because like the new content that we add, like you said, sort of changes people's minds about the decisions they would have made. So yeah, it's something we're definitely very interested in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my voice is not what it usually is. I'm Ellen, aka Princess with a Gadget, aka Riggy Marole. Right now I'm Cat Noir, but I have a question from someone at home.
Sure.
From Darth, this is for John. What was the most challenging task you worked on at Toontown Rewritten?
So this is an interesting one because I feel like one of my most challenging tasks is something that sounds simple in principle, but is actually a little bit more complex was probably in under new management, you being able to change your cog disguise is something that I'd actually implemented as a game programming trial. And initially, we weren't quite sure what the fate of cog disguise changes were going to be. And this one was a difficult one to sort of get right because it is a very, when I was first implementing it, it seemed like a very, just like fun thing to do. It's like, oh, I can be a telemarketer level 50 now just because I want to be a telemarketer level 50. But then there's actually like sort of more like of a, there's more, it was one of the tasks where the difficulty wasn't even necessarily, the challenge wasn't even necessarily from the programming aspect, it was the challenge of getting it right in a way where we can actually put it in game and it makes sense that it exists. And so it kind of sat around for a bit because we didn't really know what we could do with it. And so eventually it ended up in under new management. Under new management actually picked it up and they decided that we actually want this and we can use it. But I feel like in all the work that I have done on Toontown Rewritten so far, the challenge has not been the process of actually doing it. It's been the process of figuring out sort of, I guess, what its purpose is necessarily. I could also maybe say that for when I worked on doodle renames too, since I also implemented the ability to rename your doodle, so I worked on that too. And that was another sort of interesting thing I was thinking of is like, do people, it's like how do we sort of integrate this and make it make sense? And it was actually Rush who actually helped me a bit with doodle renames since initially we weren't quite sure how this could integrate with the game seamlessly, and luckily Rush was able to sort of help me with that. But I think a lot of my initial sort of tasks that I had when I first joined the team were some of the most challenging ones. Also just adjusting to working on a project at the scale of Toontown Rewritten, since that was sort of a new thing for me as well.
Awesome, thank you very much.
And so I'll say, since we have 15 minutes left, I think we'll cut the line with the person who's currently in the back. So we're going to try and answer all of your questions who are currently lined up, but we won't accept new questions beyond that. But if you do have a question you're sitting on, we will gladly answer it at our Toontown booth afterwards. Go ahead.
Hi, my toon name is Batty Kota. And I was wondering if you guys had any considerations for ways in which toons who may have ideas and want to create concept art but don't necessarily have the time or commitment to join the team, is there any kind of considerations for a blog or a forum in which they could submit those things rather than through the support email?
That's a great question because the support email is the best place for it right now. I know we also have, I'm going to pass this to Susie maybe, since I know we have our suggestions channel on Discord and there's even been ideas about how we could improve that.
Yeah, no, I definitely see it as something that we could maybe implement in the Discord hub in the future. Are you in the Discord hub by chance?
I am, but I'm not active. I lurk.
Okay. Yeah, so we have a suggestion channel there already, and you can't right now attach images to things, or at least other people can't see the images that you attach, but you can submit images through that when you do submit a suggestion to us. So you could always include it through that, and we'll see the image on the back end. But it's definitely something that we could bring up with some of the other Discord moderators and see if maybe that's something that we could look into and add.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Related, I know that in the past Toontown used to do work with the community to create accessories and things. Is that something you are still considering doing? Sorry, that's two questions.
No, it's okay. I mean, for ToonFest, we've done before the accessory contest.
Yeah, so I know that we have taken suggestions in the past with the accessory contests, and I know that is always going to be something that will be on the back of our mind. I know we did this year with the Toonies getting a new shirt idea from the community, so that's definitely something that we saw a lot of popularity with, and I would love to continue it for the Toonies next year. As long as Maya, our wonderful clothing artist, texture artist, is fine with us doing that. But I would love to bring that back for next year as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Wow. My name is Looney Latin, and that's because I took 2 semesters of Latin, and I kind of know what I don't know now. But anyways, my question is kind of in tandem with the aquariums and the gardening and stuff. I like decorating my homes, and I really like the estate concept. I was wondering if you had any future plans for like, I guess, new cosmetics or like new modes of creative expression on the estates.
Great question. I think one of the things that I've always really wanted from estates is certainly being able to add more rooms to your house, you know, very Animal Crossing style, being able to go from, you know, your 2-room house up to a mansion or whatever. One thing that we had talked about, maybe we've shared this before, but there's this idea we had long ago where we were really starting to think about estates, and you know, we ended up not moving forward with that project at the time, but an idea that always stuck with me that I think one of our tech directors at the time, Sam, had pitched was, what if you could have doors in your estate that connect to each other in impossible ways, sort of like, you know, portal style, where you have like a door here and then you have a door over here, but they impossibly connect to each other in a way that feels very Toontown. And that idea of like walking into a small building and then like a cartoon seeing this giant thing on the inside. So that's the kind of cosmetic stuff that we've thought about in the past and that I still want to do whenever we have the time to do it.
I love that idea. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm just gonna go by my Discord name, Corporate Colonel. Has there been consideration for either letting doodles inside houses or just making a small little house for them?
Sorry, oh, Doodle Houses, is that what you said?
Letting them in our own estates, or maybe making a custom one for them.
I think
decorate.
that's not something that we've talked about recently, at least, unless anyone up here can imagine, but I love it. I definitely want a little, like, doodle house, like a dog house, I guess, to put outside for my doodle. So, yeah, I think it's a really great idea, and certainly something we'll consider when looking at future estate expansions.
Yeah, just to add, when I applied as a producer, one of the challenges was to make a mock-up, like, new update, and mine was updates to doodles and doodle houses, and I totally agree with you there. I think that'd be such a cool idea to add.
Thank you.
Hello, my toon name is Koteup, not Code Up. It often gets confused. My question is, there was a poll a while back on the Toontown website that was cheesy effects. And first off, I think that you should just do the same thing you did with Croc and Deer. Everyone wins the poll. Those are all great effects. But my question is that still like an idea you guys have for potential implementation, or was that like put on the back burner and forgotten about?
Do you want to take this one, John? Do you happen to know?
Do you know about the
all of us up here, we always have so many things going on at once.
I know that it's definitely on the, in terms of, we've definitely toyed with the idea internally of doing it, because adding cheesy effects is something that has been discussed multiple times because we get the suggestion and we like the idea of it. I'm not familiar with the website poll. I think that might be before my time. I'm not sure how recent that poll is. It might be before I was on the team. But even as recently as like a few months ago, we were discussing amongst like what the scope would be for programming to do it, which it's mostly, it depends on the context of the cheesy effect, really. But we constantly revisit the idea because it's one of those updates where it could be one of those like smaller scope projects that I think would be a smaller scope project, but something that the community would really appreciate. So it's something that even in recent times we've been thinking about. I think there just hasn't been any, we haven't really had that sort of like moment yet where like the bulb has gone off where we've been like, we absolutely need to do this yet, but it's something that is always brought back up, and I like to think that at one point it's going to happen because that's something that I would like to see, one of those like smaller QOL, quality of life things that we could do. But
one thing that
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One thing that I think is true of like any idea we've put out there, like the cheesy effects, is we rarely, if ever, forget about those things. Like even stuff that we announced years and years ago and talked about, like Toontown Remastered. You know, it took a long time for that project to sort of find its footing, and now we're seeing the fruition of it. We even, to this day, talk about translating the Tooniverse, which is something that we announced way back in like 2016, and how to move that forward. So
What if I told you it was actually 2014?
2014. Oh man! But nonetheless, like like even small things like the cheesy effect ideas, even when we don't act on them immediately, they're always swirling around, and it's just a matter of finding the right time and the right resources to dedicate to them.
Just to add, we did experiment with new cheesy effects recently, but we're just trying to find like what was said with John, just like when's the best time to add them alone with new like bigger updates. But yeah, we have been working on them for sure.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. Oh. My name is Jake. My tune name is Ubu or Uwo. I don't know how to pronounce it myself. But so I've always really liked all the social features in the game, and you know, like beach balls and like the snowball fight going on right now. But so this is a question from my friend. I think this is something you've probably gotten asked a lot. Really a big update. Possibly even like version 5.0. When are benches 2 coming?
Benches 2.
Benches
2.
Tomorrow.
They're actually in the game right now. You can play.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you.
I have a question for all of you. In your opinion, which gag track is the best to skip?
Ooh.
So I'm going to. All I'm saying is that every tune that I've had that I've actually gotten up to 100 laugh, none of those tunes have ever had drop. So make it that way you will.
Oh. We can lightning round these to
Throw. No, I'm just kidding. I say tune up. There's like good alternatives. One day, hopefully.
I'm going lure. Not for me.
I'm trapless, so I'm at, but I love the gag, but trapless.
Boo.
I would say trapless too.
About the train.
Thank you.
The train is awesome. Listen, I love the trap gag aesthetic, but I gotta have drop and I gotta have tune up and I gotta have sound. So.
I respect your wrong opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Squatch, but my tune name is Sasquatch. Go figure.
Love it.
You guys wouldn't let me have Squatch. So back in the old days of Toontown, there were outfits that were part of contests. Will those ever be added into Toontown Rewritten, or are those forever gone because they're under Disney IP?
So it was definitely not necessarily because they're under Disney IP. There might be some, if there's any that had Disney characters, which I can't recall if any at the moment do, but stuff like the golfing shirts and stuff like that. What if I told you that they've already sort of come back to the game in a secret way? Yeah.
I wasn't talking about the golfing shirts.
Yeah.
So my family was fortunate enough to win one of the things. So we have a firefighter outfit in the old game. We would like to see it again.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to dig in and see like what outfits we haven't added back. But I will say there's an Easter egg that we've been toying with that has kind of been put out there that has brought back a lot of the Toontown Online outfits, and we'll look for that firefighter outfit and maybe add it into that Easter egg.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Zach, and my tune name is Twilight Luna. And I don't know if this has been asked in like past ToonFests before, but have you guys ever considered like adding a new gag track, like potentially like a shielding gag track or something like that?
Yes, we have very heavily considered adding a new gag track. I can say it is one of the things that we are thinking about for Clear Coast. It's not something that we're definitively saying we're going to do, but we have come up with, I want to say, dozens of different gag track designs that we've talked about as a team, and there's a lot of them that we really like and think could bring an interesting thing to the game. But we are all classic overthinkers, and we really want to make sure that we do it right. And it's something that feels sort of almost like holy to us in that, you know, the original 7 gag tracks. And so we're thinking a lot about it and thinking about things like gag tracks that we could add to the game with Clear Coast. And yeah, more to come on that in the future.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I know you guys said you weren't going to take any more questions, but I have one. My name's Danny. My tune's name is King Dandelions. And I am such a big fan of the Underdue Management poster that you guys came out with in OKC. And my question is there any way that we could get more of those?
Yes. We are giving them out after the Q&A panel at our Toontown booth.
Yeah, so
What a wonderful question, Danny. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, but I know that a lot of folks here also had already been to Oklahoma City to get that under new management poster. So there's actually another thing that we've been cooking up that we're very excited about. It's not something that you'll get today, but something that we are beyond happy to announce to you. So, June?
I am so excited to say that we are partnering with Makeship to make a plushie. Do you guys want to see what the plushie is? Yeah. All right. I think Ellie has the clicker.
We can't see the screen, but
We
it'll be
can't
up there. So we are bringing a Dr. Surly plush with Makeship. We are so excited about it. It's going to be launching quite soon. We're going to be donating all of the proceeds from this to charity. So I believe the plush will be $29.99, which is a standard Makeship thing.
Yeah.
We get none of that. We're talking with a couple different charities to try and figure out which one we want to partner with. But when this is fully launched, you'll hear more about that. We just love being able to do good with Toontown and make the world a better place. And so much like what we've talked about with Gags and Gears for Good, and all these different ideas to kind of help the world beyond our little Tooniverse, we are just really happy to partner with Makeship on this and whatever charity we end up donating the proceeds to. But that's not all.
What if I told you there was another plushie? Yeah. I don't know what slide we're on.
So
It's on there.
Yeah, so we aren't going to reveal the identity of this plushie, but we'll leave it to you to speculate who it might be. And these will be launching very close together, so if you'll be able to get them as a pair. And we just can't wait for that to launch. So something for you all to look forward to. And also, I will say this is not a ToonFest exclusive. This will be on the internet, available for anyone to get a plush toy. And that's something we've really wanted to do because we've had our Flunky plushes, we've had our Flippy plushes, but they've always been exclusive to ToonFest. And when we ran a survey, a couple months back about what's the #1 thing that people want more of through Gags and Gears for Good, the answer was plush toys. And so we got to work and are very excited to bring this to you. That is the end of our Q&A panel. Thank you all so much for being here. And we'll see you back at the Toontown booth. Have a great ToonFest.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, folks.